But right now, a duo from the city of Moose Jaw to hop on camera and outline the city's climate action plan, the latest climate action initiative from the city. You might recall last year the city announced a solar panel project to get panels installed on city facilities. An installation of those is just getting underway, starting at Yara Center. Then, during 2022 budget deliberations in December, our council approved an ambitious climate action plan with several measurable targets to increase efficiency, decrease emissions, and decrease operating costs. To explain, we're now joined by City Manager Jim Puffalt and our Director of Parks and Recreation, Derek Blais. Gentlemen, thanks for joining the Jawcast.
Thanks, Craig. Pleasure as always.
And Jim, maybe I'll start with you and just describe why this was so important for the city to get underway.
Well, certainly the science and the data indicates that climate change is happening, and we have to be able to do something. And so we can't affect the world, but we can affect our city, and we can do things to reduce our carbon footprint. And so it's certainly is the right thing to do to ensure that we're doing our part to ensure climate and that the world is here for our youth, or for our kids and grandkids and everybody else. And secondly, with the emphasis from the federal government on carbon and the grants that are coming available, we're finding that we can do this in a practical way, that we can actually save costs and save money on this as a project. So, we're doing it for three reasons. One, it's the right thing to do. Second, we can be practical and it's feasible to do so with great repayment terms. And third, it's the right thing to do. So we're very excited that, we started the process with a solar panel grant from the federal government. And now we move to the climate action plan, because again, we can't piecemeal this together. Considering what the science is showing us in the world, we have to take steps and we have to do what we can. And we're very glad that we're able to move forward. We're thrilled that City Council agreed that a climate action plan is important. When we had talked at strategic planning almost a year ago now, that was one of the most important things that we talked about doing. Obviously economic development is huge, and this is a new market that is being developing in North America for sure. But it's also an opportunity to affect change in our community, to lead the way in the country, because there's not a whole lot of cities that are doing anything. There's lots of talk about things, but not concrete action plans that are actually going to see us reduce our emissions. And so we're very excited about that. Derek Blais has just been doing a tremendous amount of work on finding ways to make this happen. And so gladly pass on to him, because he's been leading the charge on the technical side for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Derek, to you, following up on Jim's comments, Parks and Recreation, as part of that, you look after city facilities, and a big component of this is just finding efficiencies into ways to run our facilities more efficiently and cost effectively, and then of course the bigger picture with the environment. So from your perspective, can you talk about what this means and how we're going to start to see it implemented?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, the obvious environmental impacts on it is something that we're striving to get out of the plan, but also just the day-to-day users, the opportunity to reduce our utility consumption and our overall utility costs is going to have an effect on the users when it comes to our rates and fees and different things like that. So there's a lot of benefits there, and as Jim alluded to, the funding programs that are out there right now with the government, the federal government, provincial government, I think there's an opportunity by having our plan adopted and having some set targets for our corporate emissions here over the next 5 years and over the next 10 years. Really gives us that plan that we can submit and say, what, we're serious about this, and we want to be able to contribute to the change. And with that, hopefully comes some grant dollars to take care of some things that we're going to have to do anyway. We have boilers that need to be replaced on a regular replacement schedule. We have roofs, we have different things, and a lot of these funding programs provide that funding, those types of funding opportunities to help contribute to those costs, which again helps the ratepayer in Moose Jaw and helps the users of our facilities.
And we've contracted Greenwave Technologies to take us through this process. So what's the first couple of steps, Derek, that we're going to see with this plan?
Yeah, so now that the plans have been adopted and endorsed by City Council, we're moving into installing sub-monitoring solutions where we're going to be able to get some detailed analysis of usage for all our major utilities. So for electricity, for natural gas, for water, we'll be able to pinpoint areas within facilities that we maybe opportunities, I guess, to be more efficient, whether it's a pump running when it shouldn't be, or a fan, or anything like that. We'll be able to find those quick wins and those quick efficiencies to reduce our initial, but it'll also be able to really help us in our long-term planning, which is key for us in determining the effectiveness of any projects that we implement, but also helping us determine and prioritize future projects, knowing how many emissions we are able to reduce and how much of our consumption we are able to reduce, which helps us prioritize our projects moving forward. So yeah, we're working hard to get the sub-monitoring in place here over the next 5-6 months, and then we'll start seeing some of the quick wins and some of the early results of the reductions from there.
Yeah, and as things come on board, if I understand this right, our residents will be able to actually see how this is all working, correct? At our facilities, we're going to have some, well, you describe what we're going to see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, there's a huge public engagement portion to this and platform that's going to help us with our progress reporting. So as we get the sub-monitoring installed and start to see these efficiencies within our rec facilities right now, we do have some screens which we do some advertising, but we're also going to be able to run some screens on how effective the program has been to date and how we're doing, how we measure up, I guess, in regards to our goals. So how close we are to achieving our goals and how we're doing at each individual facility. So a big part of this is going to be the data and being able to track that and really help measure the success of the program.
And Jim, I have to think, another key piece of this is, as people look to move to other locales, people who might be identifying Moose Jaw as a place to either set up a business or even just want to move here. Many people are interested to find out, well, what are you doing? Is this going to be a green city? What initiatives are in place? Because that's important to many people. So this, I would have to think, certainly helps along those lines.
Well, certainly, again, there's so many benefits from having a climate action plan that is effective and affecting change. And that's, certainly one of them. We have taken a number of steps already as we worked our way towards it. And we're looking at the science and seeing what we can do already. For example, the solar panel program is starting this year. That's a very effective example of what we're trying to accomplish. There's tremendous cost savings on our power bills. And with the federal grant, federal and provincial funding that comes along with that, we have a repayment in about 5 years. So 5 to 6 years, we will see the cost being reduced. And we're already seeing that, quite honestly, in our budget this year, is that costs are being reduced because we have the solar panel program starting. The blowers in our sewage treatment plant, our wastewater treatment plant, is another one we've just replaced. And we've gone to high efficiency variable speed drives on all those motors, as Mr. Blais talked about, because again, it's when the old style technology is the motors were on or off, there was nothing of ramping up and ramping down. And so there's tremendous savings there already. And so we're very confident that we'll hit our targets. And as we work towards those targets, we'll work towards a net zero by 2050. So there's lots of work to be done in this. This is a never-ending project, and science is changing so rapidly that there's tremendous opportunities out there. And so with the climate action plan, with our philosophy that we want to be ready and we're going to take advantage of those opportunities, we'll be there and we'll help lead the country in how a city can make a difference on their own. I mean, if all of the cities are doing the same thing as we're doing, then we can make a difference in the country.
City Manager Jim Puffalt, Director of Parks and Recreation Derek Blais, on the Climate Action Plan. Have we missed anything?
The other thing I would add is the new technology and the new economy is moving away from non-renewable. So, I mean, we're on the leading edge by taking these steps now.
Yeah, just on the leadership thing, I think our approach is to be a kind of a lead by example approach within our community, showing that we're taking this seriously and providing a framework for others. Anyone who has any large buildings or anything like that will be able to provide that framework for them moving forward. And we've also speaking to the leadership side of things, I've been contacted by other cities now that have seen this in the news and that have seen that we're moving forward with it and are interested in doing something similar. So I think the leadership that the city of Moose Jaw has taken in this is going to have a huge benefit.